YouTube, in today's video, we will be adding a total of 5 terabytes of total storage. Shout out to Kingston. We got the 4 terabyte Fury along with a 1 terabyte micro SD card. I did not use the micro SD on the previous model, my original ROG Ally, but I will be using it on this model. Not only that, I've seen most people use only low profile heat sinks. I have a slightly beefier heatsink here. It's a dual side one. Then I have a low profile as a backup just in case. I forgot what this one is, but I have 3 different heatsinks. So I'm gonna go through my options and I'm gonna figure out which one is the best one, and I'm gonna try to get the beefiest one on this device. So right here I have my JSAW dock, which I can use to get Ethernet, fast Ethernet internet connection. I'm gonna have to download a certain piece of software for the hard drive cloning. But I used to use this one on the previous model, so that way I could have more than one USB-C. Now we have 2 USB-C ports, so it's not necessary. As far as power, I'm going to be using this new ROG GAN charger, which has up to 140 watts of power delivery, which is an absolute monster and a great addition to your ROG Ally X. So let's get it started. First thing first is I have to add the software onto this device. Another cool thing I like when I'm setting up and doing installs and having to type a lot on these smaller compact handheld PCs is a portable small keyboard like this. Not necessary, but it's convenience that's definitely worth having in my opinion. And that's where the dock will come into play, because then I can plug this into the dock. Since I'm only doing this and I'm not in the middle of the hard drive swap at the moment, I'll just connect it via this adapter really quick. So you get mouse control by this touch thing, right and left mouse clicks. All right, so you're gonna go to Macrium Reflect, download free trial, and then you gotta register. All right, so after you register, you will be able to download your free trial, and then you're just gonna go ahead and install this. I went on ahead and I installed that. You just go to the website, you install it, you register, and then they send you the download link. It's very straightforward, very simple. But once you get that on there, it's time for us to connect our external drive and do the cloning. This is the easiest and best way to do this process, because once you add your new hard drive into your ROG Ally X, it's gonna be as if you never changed or did anything different. It's just gonna pick up where you left off with an extra 3 terabytes from this one and an extra 1 terabyte from that one. So here's my original ROG Ally right here. I'll place that over there. Kensington 4 terabyte 2280 drive, and that's the beauty of the ROG Ally X. You can use these larger, more inexpensive, boom, because these 2280s are far easier and far more inexpensive than the 2230. So a W to go with one of these. Now let's get this inside of our hard drive enclosure. All right, we are locked into our external hard drive. Let's plug in our external hard drive. Super easy, super simple. So now our external hard drive is plugged in. We are going to go inside of Macrium Reflect, which is right here. You get to choose light mode or dark mode. I'm going with dark mode. And you can see my internal current drive that's on the ROG Ally X. Okay, so I want you guys to see up close. As you guys can see, this is my internal drive with 953 gigs. And then this is the new 4 terabyte with 3.64 terabytes available. So all we're gonna do is hit clone this disk, and then we're gonna set the disk to clone and the target. So let me go ahead and do that really quick. So you tap the disk, you hit clone this disk. Now it has my ROG Ally disk, and then I need to select the disk to clone. And then we're gonna select the 4 terabyte. It places it there. The next step is to click on copy partitions, and you're going to click on shrink or extend. Let me use the mouse so that way I make sure I hit the right one. And then as you guys can see, it clones this directly down here into this section. So we're gonna move exactly what you see up there into here. All right, so after getting these both to align up and to see that you have in this area where it says OS, like the 3.64, you know, the 4 terabytes right there, we can go ahead and hit next. Okay, so basically it's telling me that the BitLocker encrypted drive will be cloned without enabling BitLocker on the target. I guess that's okay. I'm gonna hit next, and this is the summary of what's all going to happen. We're gonna hit finish, and we are gonna hit okay. And it's literally going to start cloning your drive. It's gonna take a while to do this, so I'll be back. All right, so one thing I wanna tell you guys is you wanna go into your device encryption and decrypt your drive or your setup, because it's gonna make it easier for you to put this drive into another PC or whatever. So I'm gonna decrypt this one, the one that's currently in there, and then we'll do the swap really fast. Okay, so now that we've turned off our data encryption, it's time to do the swap. We have our clone drive over here ready to go. Matter of fact, let me see if I can eject it. It wasn't allowing me to eject while that decryption was happening. So boom, we are ejected, and now it's time to do the hardware swap. So we're gonna shut this thing off, put it into all power, and we're gonna crack this bad boy open. Now, one of the tools that I like to use, or the sets that I would recommend, is this one right here. I'll link it down in the description below. The reason why I love it is because it has these picks that are made for doing this. So they're very soft and flexible, non-harm yielding to a degree. A lot of different kind of picks and tools for doing this kind of work, opening up these type of devices. It's a precision electric screwdriver, makes getting the screws off extremely easy, and we have the proper sizing needed in order to handle these screws. So we're gonna flip this thing on its back. Let's do it, baby. The longer screws are usually down here at the bottom. That's how it was on the previous model. Another great thing about this set is you get this magnetic mat, which is perfect for keeping your screws. The funny thing is, as soon as I got that screw loose, this already popped open. So you can get in here super easy. You obviously want to take your time, go slow. You don't want to rush or break anything. All right. Woo. Okay. So there is a ribbon. Uh-oh. Another screw from the top portion. Put that right there. There is a ribbon that is connected, a ribbon cable. If you're cool with disconnecting that and doing that, you can go ahead and go about it. My goal is to set this where there's no pressure on it, no tension, no problem. All right, so now I'm gonna disconnect the power cable. So apparently this silver portion right here is a slide, and you're supposed to be able to pull that down, right? Oh, I see how it covers it. Okay. So you pull that down, right? Oh, there you go. Oh, this is actually very easy. All right, cool. Battery disconnected. Super peace of mind right now. All right, and we are magnetic. I'm gonna place that right there. Boom. We have our original drive, which we can pull out. It has a shield on top of it. It appears to have some space down there, so we're gonna see. My goal is to hopefully get this larger cooler in there, more beefier cooler from Thermo Grizzly, if I can. That's my goal. So that's the first one I'm gonna try to install and set up. Let's just see. Let's just see, would it fit? Out of curiosity. It seems like it might fit, actually. I think it might do just fine. It's not the thickest of thickest when it comes to heatsink, but this thing is dual-sided. Now the only thing is, the main thing I was worried about was clearance of these things right here and whatever else could be on the back of this thing. So we'll have to see if that interferes with anything, but it seems like this could be an actual go. Now the reality is, right here, yes, we're super slim, but it doesn't have the pads inside of it. So let's see. So it's the 0.5 millimeter pad at the bottom, SSD, and then you're gonna put your 1 millimeter pad on top of that, and then your heatsink goes on top. This thing gets a lot beefier. As you guys can see, we got the minus pad 8. This is the 0.5 millimeter, and this is the bottom one right here. Another minus pad 8, and this is the 1 millimeter, which is the top, as it tells you. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna place the first thermal pad placement, aligning it. Just align it like this for now. The more stiffer one, I would take off the stiffer one, lay it, and then there's an easier peel one that has like the little texture on it, and I would use that one, peel that one last, basically. So, all right, let's get our SSD outside of our enclosure, our new cloned 4 terabyte, and we're gonna place this. Oh, warranty void if removed, so we're not gonna remove that. That's all you had to tell me. Okay, so, yep, bend that back, get that in there, bend that back, get that in there, booyah. Hopefully I have placed it in in a proper orientation with enough clearance. And then now we got to do the top thermal pad, just the 1 millimeter, and this goes on the top. Right. Booyah. Now let's place the top portion on here. I'm gonna try to go in for it. Oh, this becomes a lot beefier of a heatsink for sure once you put all of this stuff inside of it. So this is a beefy heatsink, a lot beefier than I anticipated. The moment of truth, can we put a beefy heatsink inside of the ROG Ally X? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. The cabling, a lot of people are worried about the cabling being too pushed up. It does push up against the battery cabling, for sure. But it's actually not bad at all. I'm gonna show you guys up close in just a second. Let me get my screw back on here. So I'm not sure if you guys, I'm trying not to stretch that ribbon. I'll give you guys actually I'll use like my phone or something. It's not really pushing up against the cable much at all. Like if you guys can see, it has good clearance. Okay, so I was watching back the edit and you know, a little bit wasn't sitting right with me about how close the cables were to this larger heatsink. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a thermal pad in between the wiring and the heatsink. So that way I help prevent them from touching and the possibility of that heat, you know, becoming too much for that cabling right there. Now, you know, cable ratings and internal ratings inside of devices like this usually have a higher heat resistance. But if I add the thermal pad in between, I just make it even better. So these are pretty cheap thermal pads, so I'm not gonna stress using them. And I would just see, so like if I were to stick this in there, yep, just like that. So I will insert that right there and just kind of lay that over. It's not scientific, it's just something that's gonna probably help me sleep a little better at night after seeing what I saw. So all right, so now I completely have a layer in between these cables and my heatsink. So, you know, I think this is gonna help me reduce any heat being transferred over to these cables from this massive heatsink right here. There's shielding. I did also think about removing this shielding and laying it on top of this heatsink. That was another option I had in mind. I could have added a full one across the top right here as well. That might be the other answer as well, but the fact that I got this one tucked down in there, I'm making sure that the cables at the contact point have protections. This is just what I'm doing. I'm not recommending you do any of this, but I'm just showing you. This is the biggest and beefiest heatsink I've seen installed. And a lot of people may have concerns about, you know, these larger 4 terabyte SSDs yielding more heat. So this is my way of trying to mitigate the heat as well as mitigate any issues happening within this here setup. So this is what I'm doing, me alone, my full disclaimer. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together and continue the video, but I just wanted to throw this in there. SSD is in place. We need to put our battery connector back on. Make sure that this silver thing is slid back. All right, so this is tricky. You know, I'm not gonna lie, getting this battery connector back on because it's a push down. You push it into place and then you have to get this silver connector or this clip to go over it and hold it in place. Should have just left this connector connected. Boy, oh boy, I got it back on and boy was that scary. I'm gonna tell you guys, like literally, hold on. 100,000%, if you're gonna take off the power cable, you're gonna need tools like this. So I needed one to hold the power connector down while I push this silver portion back into play and back to lock it down. So now it's in there, it's locked down. Now we have to see the moment of truth. Will it close shut with this massive heatsink locked onto it? So SSD is in place, sturdy. Let's see if it'll click close. All right, we got clean clearance, even with that big heatsink in there. So let's put our screws back in, plug in our power cable, and get our power back on. That was a bit nerve-wracking. The other power cable was way easier in the original ROG Ally. This one, not so much. All right. Whew, now the moment of truth. We're gonna plug our power back in. Boom. And all right, and we'll see if we did right with our process. The only thing that I didn't do that I did before in the previous process was I turned off encryption before doing the clone. This time I did not, so I'm gonna see if it works. If it doesn't, then I know I need to go and do the clone over, which I would not want to have to do that. I'm gonna be honest. Hopefully everything is good to go, because basically it was just saying that I was putting an encrypted drive onto a non-encrypted BitLocker drive, and we'll see if the system has an issue with that, and it seems that it doesn't. Woo! Okay, so as you guys can see, Windows booted up. It recognized my fingerprint. It has my name on it. Everything is running, and it's the Macrium Reflect trial notice pops up. Everything is running as it should be. And as you guys can see, we got storage. That's simple. All of my games are on here. Call of Duty, God of War, Grand Theft Auto. Everything is on this thing as if I never changed anything. And that's the beauty of cloning your drive. So last but not least, we just need to add in our terabyte of micro SD card storage, and we officially will have a 5 terabyte ROG Ally X with the biggest and beefiest heatsink on YouTube. Micro SD card, the new micro SD card slot. It looks like, oh no, there we go. Micro SD card slot inserted. Let's see. There it is. It says select and choose what happens with removable device. So now if I go to this PC, as you guys can see, we got our 4 terabyte and our 1 terabyte in full effect. Gotta love it, man. So the only thing left to do is to boot up a video game, just to show you guys that my system still works. Call of Duty booted up just fine, and I have less worries about heat with that massive heat sink on there. So that's the beauty of using that. Yes, it's a little bit thick. Yes, it's a little bit heavier, heftier. It's gonna add, you know, a smidget of weight to the overall device, but this device is well balanced weight wise. It's well balanced ergonomic wise. I'm gonna be giving you guys my first review on this really soon. These tools right here were extremely clutch in putting that power connector back on. If I didn't have these, I would have been out of luck for sure. And I honestly don't recommend you messing with the power cable unless you have proper tooling, 100%. So you guys can pick up this Hoto kit if you want to. If it's a little more pricier than what you want to pay, you can find one similar for cheaper. While I wait for that game to boot up, I will say this. I cannot wait to do my head-to-head conversation and discussion about this versus this, because this changes the game for this ROG Ally landscape, but this is still this. This is still, you know, it's still him, the Lenovo Legion Go. Bigger panel, you know, a lot of different things and differences that separate the two. But there are differences that separates this from every handheld on the market, and that's to be discussed. So you guys can see, my frame rates are crazy high because I have frame regeneration on. It's just FSR 3.0. Ooh, look at this. My gameplay is closer to what I'm used to when I'm using my normal controllers, which are like the Xbox Series Elite 2 and the FlyDigi Apex 4, I believe. The FlyDigi is my go-to right now. It's a Hall Effects remote, and it is amazing. I still think the paddles on the Xbox Elite Series 2 are better placed, but the trade-off for the Hall Effects and just the overall experience with the FlyDigi is worth it in my opinion. Whoa. Oh yeah, we got a, where'd he go? Oh, the speakers are good. They were good on the first one. They're good on the second one. Well, this isn't the second one. Technically, this is the 1.5, So my number one thing with gaming handhelds is how close can I play to my normal self like I do when I'm on my PC on them, and that's how I rate them. And man, can I get close to that on this ROG Ally X. I'm turning it down a little bit because, you know, these speakers are top tier. Also, it's very quiet fan wise. Now you can feel, not while you're playing, but like if you put your hand up there at the top where the exhaust is, you'll feel the heat that it's dissipating, but the fans are not loud. Man, I keep getting jumped, bro, like. This is such a great addition of the ROG Ally, and it was definitely worth having in the lineup. Ooh, sit down. Oh, bro, every time I fight, it's like 2 or 3 people, bro. It's getting me like, come on. There we go, 1v1. Let's go. Get the W. And I got that revenge. Yeah, the 1v1s is where it's at. Ooh, 1v1. Let's go. Oh, the homies pulled up and turned into a stack situation. I was handling it. Ooh, let's go. Wait. I gotta reload. Hold up, player. Let me reload. Tell him like, yo, don't shoot, man. Just let me reload. Oh, I gotta get that revenge. Oh, let's go. Was that him? I guess that wasn't him. That must have been him. Little rat. Ooh, y'all see that? Wow, 277. I like their new overlay for FPS and this new software. You guys will get it on the regular ROG soon. I'm pretty sure it's gonna come with that new Armory crate, but I love it. The new Armory crate is pretty dope too. Oh, we got an installer going on. COD ran just as smooth as ever. My ROG Ally X is running just as smooth as ever. I now have more storage than I've ever had, and I can add more games than I've ever had on any gaming handheld. So 5 terabytes of goodness, a large heatsink, and a lot of games and a lot of fun to be had. My name is CJ. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell.
I rise and I wake and I gotta go get it. I'm making my bed and it's straight to the digits. No cup of jokers, this is acidic. So I take a shot with the lemon and ginger. Look in the mirror like, yeah, I'm that. Look in the mirror like, I'm fitted. Looking outside like the world is all mine. Look in the mirror like, go get it. I gotta get to the scene, oh, I gotta get to the bag now. I can't be chasing on these. They getting, they feeling and dragged down. That's why they just crash out. Stuck in the cell and it's man down. Life getting gone in a flash now. Spinning and I'ma stand out.